did the Targaryens train their dragons? I mean, like, okay, dragons themselves are magnificent creatures. They are literally the nuclear weapons, and not just Westeros, but all of the globe that the fandom has entitled Planetos. In this video, I want to discuss, real quick, how the Targaryens train their dragons. Please, if you enjoy these kinds of videos, do me a massive favor. Slap a like on it. Like goal is going to be 420. Long that, Zeltriza spustari, Ixos adaur. Alright, so one of the big things, and you gotta realize that the exact way that the Valyrians controlled and tamed dragons is kind of like, the way it's given to us in the books is bits and pieces, and we have to take information from the World of Ice and Fire, Fire and Blood Part 1, eventually Blood and Fire Part 2, and then maybe if we get Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring, we'll for sure know how they did it, right? But from what we do know is that, for instance, in A World of Ice and Fire, it's said that at Valyria's height of power, right? So at the Valyrian Freehold's height of power, all of these people where there's thousands of dragon lords, right? Where the Targaryens hail from. At one point, Old Gis rebelled against them. So the Targaryens sent thousands of dragon riders to go and take them out, right? So that just shows you that at one point, there were probably more dragons in Westeros than more dragons in Essos, right? And coming out of the Valyrian Freehold, than there were petty kings and lords in Westeros, right? So that's kind of an interesting comparison that sort of just gives you an idea of how many dragons there were. So because there's so many of them, and because the Valyrians basically enslaved everyone around them, and they were able to delve into blood magic and fire magic and combine the two to make them be able to greater control their dragons, it's kind of like just assumed that they probably did something like selective breeding, right? So there's all these different colored dragons, and some of the dragons, like the black ones, are really large, right? Balerion, the Black Dread, and then obviously Drogon, Daenerys' dragon. I think that also means that each color is from a specific line of dragons, right? So they would select, black dragons tend to be larger, let's mate black dragons with other black dragons and have a line of strong ones, right? And Balerion, right, written by Aegon, and also for the new show House of the Dragon by Viserys I in his youth, right, until Balerion the Black Dread dies, and then Viserys I never rides another dragon, right? Let's say since Balerion is from before the destruction of the Doom, he was bred to be really large. And red dragons are known to be super vicious, right? We have Meleys the Red Queen, ridden by Rhaenys, and then also Caraxes, ridden by Daemon. It's given the nickname the Red Worm, right? These red dragons are more ferocious. They may be half the size of the black dragons, but they're just as powerful. And then you have golden dragons, right? They're more for looks, right? So Aegon II's dragon, Sunfire, is vicious, yes, but he's said to be one of the more beautiful dragons ever. Same with Helena's dragon, Dreamfire. These dragons are bred for looks. There's dragons that are bred for war, and then there's dragons that are bred for destruction, right? Black dragons, red dragons, golden dragons. That's probably going to be something that's discussed in House of the Dragon. Now, just quickly wrapping this video up, another way that Targaryens and Valyrians of old definitely trained their dragons were saddles and whips. Like, yes, they supposedly bred with dragons themselves to make them blood of the dragon, and that's why certain Targaryens will have these demon dragon babies, right? Daenerys has one, and then also Rhaenyra in House of the Dragon has one. When she's giving birth and finds out that Aegon II has usurped her crown, her father's dead, she goes into labor. She actually curses her child, it's her daughter at the time, who she's giving birth to, and the dragon, or the baby that's born, has like a tail and crude wings. This is according to Mushroom, of course, and he's the one who carries the baby out to the pyre to burn it out at Dragonstone. But it's just kind of assumed that they did at one point mate with dragons. There was probably some sick blood twisted ritual, right? Also, we got to realize that Arya, when she goes to Valyria, when she hops on Balerion's back, right? This is during the rule of King Jaehaerys, the king that was in power before Viserys, the king who's in power when the show starts, right? She basically wants to get away, right? Sort of has like a Twix moment, jumps on Balerion's back, and he carries her to Old Valyria. She eventually returns, and when she does, she has like fireworms inside of her with human faces, right? So all of that aside, they used ability as Valyrians, right? They use their blood and that bond and how the Targaryens mimic their riders and take their personality, but also they used whips and saddles. In this new show, speaking of which, I got a strike on my channel for showing pictures of the saddle that this show is going to be using, will in fact have saddles, right? So one of the ways that, or a couple of the ways that several characters dies in specific, Daemon killing Aemon, he attaches himself from his saddle, or never attaches his chains, rather, and Aemon does. And then, obviously, when they're in midair, Daemon jumps off of Caraxes from his saddle and drives the hilt of Dark Sister through Aemon's socket where his eye is missing from. So you kind of need saddles for the show, but that's another way that they tame their dragons. All of that aside, I'm going to get the hell out of here. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoy these little quick House of the Dragon and Song of Ice and Fire videos, please let me know down below in the comment section, and I'll keep making them. Slap a like on this video if you enjoy it, and also consider checking out my Patreon. Thank you to every single member of my Patreon listed right here. My name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunt's Alone Night Reviews. Grande Spartara.